Hello, I'm Tom Clements with Flight Review Incorporated, and I've enjoyed flying and instructing in King Airs for over 25 years. In the program you're about to view, I'll be demonstrating procedures and techniques for flying the King Air correctly and proficiently, safely, and to the extent possible, simply as well. The airplane we'll be using is the one you see here, an early model C-90 with Pratt & Whitney PT6A-20 power plants. However, the procedures presented, with some variations, apply in many ways to all King Airs, from the earliest 90s to the latest 350s. If you're preparing for an initial training class on a particular King Air model, or for that matter, if you're getting ready for your umpteenth refresher course on this very, very fine aircraft, I think you'll find our video worthwhile. So come on, let's go flying.
C-90s rarely climb high enough where with their high rate of descent in the emergency configuration that really the need for oxygen would be great. But certainly depending on altitude, the first consideration if we had a loss of pressurization causing the emergency descent would be to don oxygen mask. On the other hand, I think an equally valid reason for an emergency descent might perhaps be a medical emergency involving a passenger having a seizure or a heart attack, and we need to get him to that major airport.
Number 9442, Quebec, contact Mansfield approach 124.2, and keep them advised. We'll see you.
Thanks a lot for your help, 24-2. So maybe more realistic is to get down to that airport right below you and get an ambulance.
Okay, yeah, we get it.
So here we go for the emergency descent. Autopilot's coming off. The power lever's coming all the way back to idle rapidly. The propeller levers are smooth and being advanced full forward. I'm slowing to 156 for the gear speed. I get in the flaps first to 174. I'm below 156. The gear's coming down. I verified the flaps have extended approach. 3 green, no red. The gear's down. I'm now dropping the nose, looking for 156 knots. As they go into the clouds, I'll stop these turnings. I was doing a bit of turning there to check for traffic. And seeing what pitch attitude will go ahead and give me this descent rate I'm desiring. Right now I'm looking at around 11 degrees pitch down, 149 knots. Mansfield approach, King Air 9442 Quebec out of 15,000 for 9,000.
9442 Quebec, Mansfield approach. Good morning, altimeter 2990.
2990. I think we'll be breaking out of the clouds and probably canceling IFR, doing some air work in your area before we come in for a landing. 42 Quebec.
42 Quebec, Roger. And did you want to continue your descent?
6,000.
Yeah, if we could have maybe a block 7 to 9 initially.
2940.
42 Quebec, our altitude only goes up to 8,000.
Okay, how about 6 to 8?
42 Quebec, Roger, descend and maintain 7,000. You can expect that block in about 5 minutes.
Okay, and you still want us on 070, or can we work within the area?
42 Quebec, upon reaching 7,000, you can proceed direct Mansfield.
Roger. As we're coming down, I'm going to bring the condition levers to low idle. The N1 did not change. Low idle is asking for an idle speed in the low 50% range. But up here, the air is so thin that even with the fuel flow as low as it can go on the fuel control unit, we're idling in the high 60% range. As we continue the descent, you may be able to observe, and will observe, that the N1's going lower because of the fact the air is getting thicker and it's harder to maintain that N1 speed and that thicker air. So this is a case where the fuel control unit, being an N1 governor, can't govern. Just like prop governors can't always do it, here's a case where we can't always do it because we've been overridden by the minimum fuel flow setting in the fuel control unit. And it looks like the clouds are going to dissipate here in a little bit. Notice our rate of descent has been quite high. And again, the pitch attitude appears to be slightly below 10 degrees to get this to happen. Now you may be wondering why we didn't go to full flaps to get more drag. Well, yes, we get more drag coefficient by extending full flaps, but we'd have to slow down into the white arc area to do that, and at the slower speed we actually would not have any more drag. Out of the clouds. I'm turning off the ice protection items and the reverse path how I turned them on before. And as I get this last 8,000 or 8,000 for 7,000 feet, I'm bringing the nose up. I'm coming into the low magic number of power. Now, you newcomers haven't heard that phrase yet. You'll get more of it later. But in this airplane, that low magic number is about 300. Sitting about 300. As I start leveling off, the speed's dissipating. I have to get below 130 knots before I can bring up the gear. Might as well get the flaps up now, holding my hand on the handle until I verify the action. Now I am below 130.
The traffic that was a factor and earlier is no longer a factor. You are cleared to airwork. And are you able to maintain a certain distance from the VOR since the VOR is out of service?
Yes, ma'am. We have GPS. We can do that. And in fact, we are in VMC condition at this time. If you give us a block, fine. We can do that, or we can just cancel IFR.
Fort Quebec, I can give you a block if you'd like, and you're cleared to do airwork within a 15-mile radius of the Mansfield VOR. Maintain block altitude 6 through 8, and just advising you through.
Very good. Within 15 miles, any radial of the VOR, and a block between 6 to 8 for Fort Quebec.
Fort Quebec, that's correct.
All right, I brought the props back. Turn prop sync back on. Level off, and I'm going to now accelerate and maintain 160 knots. Tails always rise. That phrase, applied to an RMI, means the tails always move upwards. So right now I'm on the 210 radial of Appleton. If I continue this heading, I'll get to the 215, the 220. And actually, according to the chart...
You're 5 miles from Pickle. Turn left heading 260. Maintain 2,500 till established on the localizer. Cleared ILS runway 23 left, side step to 23 right approach.
Roger, 260 down to 2.5 to intercept. Clear for the approach 42 Quebec and side step. So as this moves up, when it gets to about 221, within the accuracy of a VOR that's 20-some miles away at that point, we'll be at the out-of-compass locator.
In King Air 42 Quebec, the glide slope is out of service for the ILS to C3 left.
So we observed that. Just going to ask you about that, 42 Quebec. Well, that kind of messes up our plans a bit here, but in real life we have to be flexible, so we're going to be flexible here. And basically with that, this becomes a non-precision approach. Once we're established, the altitude at the outer marker will be 2,400 feet, and the MDA for this side step is 1140. And also with the glide slope out, this has changed from a precision to a non-precision approach. And since we're going to be doing it single engine, the method in which we'll be putting the gear down is a bit different. Waiting until we have the runway in sight.
King Air 42 Quebec, contact Rick Tower 120.05.
20.05, 42